Welcome to comic issue number 3 for January 16th, 2013. I am Paul Neafsey.
I'm Scott Kaitz of the Comic Station.
And welcome. We go over, as usual, the new releases, a review or two, and a recommendation by Scott. Welcome. Welcome to the new releases section of the Comic Station issue number 3. We're going to start off with Savage Wolverine number 1 from Marvel now. Beautiful cover. I actually really like this cover. Once you get inside, the art becomes a little bit more contemporary, a little more updated. If you're familiar with, it doesn't go outside of the box too much. But you do see Wolverine back in his classic yellow and blue outfit, so you get that. And as you could probably tell from the title, Savage Wolverine, you're back in the Savage Lands. There, there's a lot of fun to be had there. And a little hint, there is some S.H.I.E.L.D. agents. So you don't know who else might be showing up later. I liked it. I'm a fan of Wolverine, though. I've been a fan since when I was younger, and I'm not going to mention how old. But, yeah, so it goes back to the classics.
I don't know whether or not this particular issue is, this title is going to be a long run or not. They do have a new Wolverine coming out, plus you already have Wolverine Max. I have not read this. I am looking forward to reading it because, once again, I am also a Wolverine fan. So, I have high hopes.
Yeah, the only downside I found to it is the artwork is a little not pushing the boundaries. But we'll see. This is issue number 1. The next one we have is from DC Comics, and it is Insurgent number 1. This one is almost photorealistic in its artwork, whereas Savage didn't stand out. It's a dystopian future, robots. You start out first with the not-so-distant future. Robotics are taking over. You have basically a secret FBI agency made up of people that are made to hunt down some of these rogue robotics. And then further in the future, where the robotics have progressed so much further that it's so much harder to tell who's human and who's not. And there's a little bit of a mystery. You get, as is typical with some of these dystopian futures, some of them may not even be aware they're robots, and there's a cover-up by the government, of course. They admitted to having this agency, but then they hid everybody that was in it. So you're going to see a lot of those coming up. In this one, there is a rogue, you find a rogue, and they bring back an old expert. So, brings up the past. So let's... this is interesting. I'm liking where this is going so far. The artwork is really nice, and I think the story progresses. It has a little bit of a mystery. I want to find out. So,
from that description, it reminds me a little bit of Blade Runner.
Yeah, Blade Runner. There's been a few games out recently that have hit that topic of dystopian future with the robotics and not quite knowing who you are. So, we'll see where this goes. But I like it. It's off to a good. It's topical. There's been a few subjects on that. The next one is a very strange title. This is from Image. It's called Todd The Ugliest Kid on Earth. This one, standout, first few pages, you're going to notice the artwork. It's almost a caricature, like a Saturday morning cartoon caricature. There have been a few titles that have been in that artwork vein. Todd wears a bag over his head the entire time. So you don't know how ugly he is, but the kids tease him, and basically it's a lot of Todd gets blamed for a lot of things that aren't necessarily his fault. Some of them in a weird mix-up or happenstance, and it's kind of unfortunate, and others not so happenstance, and it is a setup by the bully. So you get a little bit of humor in there, and some people, if you're liking the cartoons, will probably enjoy this.
Yeah, don't have much to add to that one.
Yeah,
it is an interesting artwork.
It's a long-form comic, in my opinion. People that like comics will probably like this. Something just to read and laugh about, and then pass on. So I don't know how the story is going to progress, if it's going to become deeper or anything like that. So it is a number 1. The next issue we have here is The Highways by IDW Publishers. This one I could only scan briefly, but it is basically set in the future. It's space delivery. This young boy is basically roped into this group of very weird characters. They all seem to have their own quirks and personalities. For the review segment today for Comic Station, we are going to do the #1 issue of Black Beetle No Way Out, #1. The Black Beetle is a crime noir comic that really goes back to a lot of the classics as far as not only the art style and the period dress and the scenes, but as well as a lot of the humor. It's a little drier, and you can almost hear in the main character, the Black Beetle, when he talks to himself, you can almost hear this old, gravelly detective voice in your head. I really liked it, and it just stood out to me as far as a lot of these comics are pushing boundaries, and this one went back, and while it harkens back to the old days, it brings it a little bit more modern, adds in a little more artistic flourish, some of these new graphic designs that more modern comics are doing, but puts it into an old style, and I really like that. One thing that stood out to me when I reviewed this was I said it really wouldn't have surprised me if they ended it with a stay tuned for the next exciting episode of the Black Beetle. It would have fit right in. I mean, they have the action down pat, it carries the plot forward beautifully, the pacing is really good, and I got to the end and I didn't even realize it. I had just flown through it, and they leave it on a cliffhanger, very much, to my opinion, a callback to some of the old television series where they would leave it on a cliffhanger and find out on the next episode of. So it's a beautiful callback. I didn't know I was missing this kind of genre until I read it, and now I really want to go back and read a lot of crime noir. Fantastic visuals, fantastic artwork, fantastic writing. It pushes everything forward. It is a little bit predictable, so I had to mark it down a little bit for that. And I mean, the artwork and the writing are married very well. But it's a classic noir crime scene novel. Some people may not like that genre anymore or anything, but if you do, you're gonna like this. And it is predictable. The humor's a little dry. It's a little on the witty and not overly much, more just dry witty. But I like that kind of humor. On the site, we have a full review on frontwardsgamer.com, and there you can see some more of the examples and some more artwork, but on the site we gave it an 8 out of 10, which to us is great. Alright. And Scott, you have a recommendation for us?
I do. 50 years of smash and just mangle everything up. All comes to this. Now you get to smash things, and you also get Bruce Banner, all in the same book. Both of them getting equal billing instead of one or the other. You're getting them both. The Incredible Hulk, or Indestructible Hulk, I should say, of the new Marvel Now has probably been one of the better Marvel Now books, in my opinion. This issue, which is number 3, has finally really set the tone for what's about to happen with the Hulk and Banner going forward in the series as basically agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. There's an interesting twist to it. S.H.I.E.L.D's setting up Dr. Banner, and in return, whenever they need it, Hulk goes out and smash. So if you get a chance, pick one up. I don't think you'll be disappointed. It's much better than the ending of the last Hulk run. So, you know, I don't know if that says anything, but in my opinion, this is far better, and I think you'll enjoy it.
All right. And this has been issue number 3 of the Comic Station for January 16th, 2013. Thank you very much.